I helped my neighbor during a blackout. Then her mother whispered, she can't know we met before. The lights died with a sharp metallic pop that cut through the rain. 1 second. My kitchen was full of blue monitor glow and security diagrams. The next, the whole cul-de-sac dropped into black. Outside, every porch light and street lamp vanished at once. I closed my laptop by reflex. Rain hammered the windows. Wind pushed against the siding hard enough to make the glass tremble. I sat still for 3 seconds, listening. A blackout during a storm was inconvenient. A blackout with a metallic pop close to one property line was something else. Then a crash came from the house next door. It was heavy, sharp, followed by a woman's startled cry. I grabbed my flashlight, rain jacket, phone, and small toolkit, then stepped outside into freezing rain. Claire Morgan lived next door. She was an independent architect, 36, private, capable, and stubborn in the way people become after rebuilding their lives alone. Her mother, Nora, had arrived the day before in a silver sedan. I had noticed because noticing was my work. I was a corporate security consultant. I found weak points before dangerous people found them first. Claire's house had older wiring, a rear alley, and a side gate that stuck unless lifted. If the outage lasted, her hardwired alarm would run on backup for only a few hours. If the outage was accidental, they needed heat. If it was not accidental, someone had just created the perfect isolation. I crossed the lawn in 4 strides and knocked. Claire? It's Julian. From next door. The deadbolt slid back. The door opened a few inches. Candlelight spilled over the porch. Claire stood behind it in an oversized navy sweatshirt and loose pajama pants, one sleeve shoved up past her wrist. Her fingers gripped the doorframe until her knuckles went pale. Behind her, Nora Morgan stood near the staircase in a thick belted robe over dark house clothes. An iron umbrella stand lay across the foyer floor, umbrellas scattered around it. Julian, Claire said, her voice thin with relief. The lights went out. Mom tripped over that thing in the dark. Is anyone hurt? No, Claire said. Just shaken. I kept the flashlight angled at the floor. The rest of the street is dark too, but the pop sounded close to your side. I can check the breaker and exterior feed if you want. Claire hesitated. She wanted to refuse. She wanted to handle it herself. The alarm panel will be on backup, I added. If the outage lasts, it may fail before morning. That made her step back. Breaker is in the mudroom, past the kitchen. She picked up a hurricane lamp. I'll get the larger lantern. As she disappeared down the hall, Nora stepped into my path. I stopped. Candlelight carved deep lines into her face. She looked toward the hallway, then back at me. Julian Nelson, she whispered. My full name changed the room. She can't know we met before, Nora said. Claire cannot know. For 1 second, the storm outside went quiet in my head. Nora Morgan. Chicago. 4 years ago. A private conference room. A mother who had hired my firm because her daughter's ex-fiancé had crossed from control into threat. Marcus Vance. Corporate litigator. Patient. Wealthy. Charming in public. Relentless in private. My firm had helped Nora's attorney document the harassment, strengthen security, and pressure Marcus into a strict civil no-contact agreement. Claire had never been my client. Nora had insisted on keeping her daughter out of the process, saying Claire had already survived enough. I had disagreed then. Now Nora stood in her daughter's dark foyer, while the power line outside had died too cleanly to be weather. Is he back? I asked quietly. Nora swallowed. Yesterday, someone left a photograph in my private mailbox. No message. Just this house. Did you call the police? My attorney said without a direct threat, it might not be enough. Claire's footsteps sounded from the kitchen. Nora leaned closer. Please. She can't know I hid it. That was the wrong request. But the house was dark. The alarm was dying. And if Marcus had found Claire, immediate safety came first. We keep her safe tonight, I said. After that, no more decisions without her. Claire entered with the lantern before Nora could answer. In the mudroom, warm lamplight filled the small space. I opened the breaker panel first. Nothing unusual. Then I looked through the mudroom window toward the exterior meter box. The seal was broken. I stepped outside under the narrow overhang. Rain struck my hood as I aimed the flashlight at the meter housing. The cover had been forced open and pressed back into place. I didn't touch the cut line. I took 3 time-stamped photos and stepped back inside. Claire waited beside the washing machine. Well, she asked, can I reset something? No, the exterior meter housing has been tampered with. Her eyes narrowed. Tampered with? Yes, Nora made a small sound behind us. Claire turned. Mom? Nora looked down. The silence stretched. I kept my voice calm. This is no longer a waited-out situation. Your alarm will lose backup power, the house will get colder, and visibility outside is bad. You and Nora should come to my house tonight. I have a generator, heat, working phones, and a monitored security system. Claire stared at me. I am not leaving my house because the power went out. I'm not asking because the power went out. Rain rattled the mudroom door. Someone interfered with your exterior power connection, I said. Maybe it was vandalism. Maybe it was targeted. Either way, staying here gives you no advantage. Coming next door gives you safety until we can file a proper report. Report? Claire asked. Yes, she looked at Nora again. What is going on? Nora opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Claire's face hardened. If there is something I should know, do not make me ask 10 times. I met her eyes. Tonight, we move to safety. Tomorrow morning, we sit down. All three of us. No more hiding. Claire studied me, then set the lantern down. I'll pack one bag. Mom, get your medication. The walk across the lawn took less than a minute. I held the umbrella high and the flashlight low. Claire walked in the middle, Nora beside her. The wind shoved at our backs. My generator hummed through the siding when we reached my porch. Inside, the lights were dim but stable. Claire paused in the entryway, noticing the cameras above the door, the reinforced strike plate, and the small monitor showing 4 exterior views. You always live like this? She asked. Occupational hazard. She looked like she had more questions, but she set her bag down instead. I gave them the guest room in the den, placed towels and bottled water where they could see them, then stepped back. You can choose either room, I said. You can leave whenever you want. I'll stay in my office and keep the exterior lights on. Claire nodded. Do you have tea? In the kitchen. The kitchen became neutral ground. The generator powered essentials, not my espresso machine. Claire stared at it with suspicion. This thing looks like it requires licensing. It has humbled stronger people. Can it boil water? Not tonight. Too much draw. So, it's decorative in an emergency. I pulled a compact camp stove from the cabinet and set it on the counter. Claire watched me unfold the legs. Of course, you have a stove and a cabinet for heat, water, and morale. That is the most security consultant answer I've ever heard. The blue flame hissed to life. Claire wrapped both hands around her mug before I poured the water, as if preparing for warmth early might help. Nora stood near the doorway. Claire looked at her. Tomorrow, you explain. Nora nodded. Yes, I left them at the island and checked the exterior monitor from the hallway. Nothing moved except rain and branches. When I came back, Claire had made 3 mugs of tea and placed one at the far edge of the counter for me. It was small. It mattered. Too strong, she warned. I took a sip. Aggressive. Tea should know what it wants. That explains the architecture. For the first time that night, she almost laughed. By morning, the utility company confirmed the meter housing had been opened and the feed had been cut with an insulated tool. A police officer took the report, and I made sure Claire gave the statement herself. Then my operations manager, David, sent what I had asked for. Legal, public information only. Marcus Vance had filed a temporary professional address change near Cleveland 3 weeks earlier. He had also appeared in a county civil docket 2 hours away. Nothing that proved guilt alone. Enough to show proximity. I printed the pages and placed them on the table in front of Claire. This belongs to you, I said. Not Nora. Not me. Claire didn't open it. What is it? Public records. A police case number. And context for someone from your past. Her eyes closed briefly. When they opened, they went to Nora. Marcus, Claire said. Nora flinched. Claire's hand flattened on the table. What did you do? Nora took a sealed envelope from her purse and pushed it forward. 4 years ago, after you ended the engagement, it was worse than you knew. He followed you. He sent messages about your apartment. He scared me. And I hired help, because I thought keeping it quiet would protect you. Claire looked at the envelope like it might burn her. Then she looked at me. And you? I worked for the firm Nora hired. I handled part of the threat assessment. You knew me? I knew the case. I didn't know you lived next door until after I moved here. I recognized Nora last night, Nora whispered. I asked him not to tell you. Claire let out one sharp, hurt laugh. Of course you did. I kept my hands visible on the back of the chair. I told her, no more decisions without you. That starts now. Claire opened the envelope herself. Inside were incident summaries, attorney letters, photographs of damaged locks, and a civil protective agreement signed by Marcus Vance and his counsel. Not a magic shield. Not a criminal conviction. A legal wall built from documentation, money pressure, and the threat of public exposure. Claire read enough to understand. Then she stood. I need air. She went to the porch. I stayed inside. Nora tried to rise. Give her a minute, I said. She's my daughter. Yes. And she asked for space without using the words. 15 minutes later, Claire came back in. I'm filing the new report myself, she said. The power cut, the old agreement, the photo sent to Mom, all of it. I want copies of everything. No more family secrets. No more people deciding what I can survive. Nora pressed one hand to her mouth. Claire turned to her. If you want to help, you come with me and tell the truth. I will, Nora said. Claire looked at me. And you do not handle this alone. You do not install anything without asking me. You do not talk to police about me without me there, unless there is immediate danger. Agreed. You are not my guard dog. No. What are you then? Available, I said. If you choose to use me as a resource. She held my gaze. Fine resource. Get your coat. At the precinct, Claire did not shake. Sergeant Alvarez listened while Claire laid out the power tampering, the old civil agreement, the photograph sent to Nora, and the public records placing Marcus nearby. I handed over my photos only when Claire nodded. This gives us enough to increase patrol, Alvarez said. Your attorney can also request an emergency no-contact order based on renewed conduct. The old agreement helps establish history, but the new evidence matters most. Claire wrote every instruction down, not because she was weak, because she was taking control. Before we left, Alvarez handed her a printed victim services card and tapped the top line with one finger. This is not a test of how brave you are, she said. This is a process. Use the process. Claire tucked the card into her folder. I intend to. Outside the precinct, Nora stopped beside the passenger door. I wanted to be brave for you, she said. Claire looked at the folder in her hands. You don't get to be brave, instead of me. Nora's eyes filled, but she nodded. I know that now. That afternoon, Claire called her attorney from my kitchen table. Her name was Mara Wells, and her voice over speakerphone was calm, in the way sharp knives are calm. I want clean documentation, Mara said. No dramatic language. No theories we can't support. Dates, times, screenshots, names, case numbers. Claire opened a fresh legal pad. I can do that. I know you can. But I also want you to write down who was present for each event. Not because you need permission to be believed. Because courts like corroboration. Claire's pen paused. Nora looked down. Mara continued. Nora, I'll need the original civil file. Not a summary. Not what you think is relevant. Everything. Nora's voice came out small. I have it. Good. Then, bring everything into the light. After the call ended, Claire drew 3 columns on the legal pad. Evidence. Witness. Next step. She filled the first line herself. Power feed cut. Witness. Julian, utility technician, Officer Daniels. Next step. Attach photos and report number. Her handwriting was steady. I watched from the counter and said nothing. She looked up after the 3rd line. You're doing the quiet, proud face again. I don't have a quiet, proud face. You absolutely do. Nora glanced between us and gave the smallest tired smile. It did not fix the morning, but it gave the room one breath. Over the next 2 weeks, Claire's house became a project she directed. I recommended an independent residential security company, not my firm. Claire interviewed them herself, chose the camera angles, rejected placements that felt invasive, and approved a monitored alarm panel. I replaced nothing unless she asked. Mostly, I stood in my driveway with coffee and answered questions while she argued with installers about wiring like the architect she was. You know, one installer said, looking at her revised sketch, most people just let us put cameras where it's easiest. Claire held out the paper. Most people don't have to look at ugly camera placement every morning. I hid a smile behind my mug. She saw it. Do not look proud. I was professionally neutral. You looked smug. Security adjacent satisfaction. That is worse. The routine returned in pieces. Morning coffee at the fence. Tea. During rain. Nora stayed for several days, not as a secret keeper, but as a woman doing the slow work of apology without asking forgiveness too quickly. One evening, Claire left the old envelope on the table between them. I don't want all the details tonight, Claire said, but I want to know why you thought hiding them was love. Nora wrapped both hands around her mug. Because I confused your peace with my silence? And because I was a coward, Claire's fingers tapped once on the envelope. Nora pushed a second folder forward. Everything else? Attorney notes. Invoices. My emails. No more locked drawers. Claire didn't open it, but she put her hand on top of it. That was enough for the evening. The next morning, Mrs. Donnelly from 2 houses down stopped by with a covered dish and a folded note. She was 70, sharp-eyed, and knew more about the block than any camera system ever would. Claire accepted the dish at the door, polite but puzzled. I saw a dark SUV on the service road the night the power went out, Mrs. Donnelly said. Thought it was utility. But utility trucks don't usually sit with headlights off. Claire and I looked at each other. Mrs. Donnelly handed over the folded note. Wrote down the plate because I'm nosy, and my late husband always said nosy neighbors prevent burglaries. Claire opened the note. A partial plate number. Time, location. Not proof alone. Another brick in the wall. Claire took a breath. Would you be willing to tell Sergeant Alvarez? Mrs. Donnelly lifted the covered dish slightly. I brought lasagna and civic responsibility. Claire laughed before she could stop herself. That laugh stayed in the kitchen after Mrs. Donnelly left. Marcus waited 11 days before he made a mistake. The call came at 1:18 on a Tuesday night. Claire phoned me first, exactly as planned. Block number, she said. It rang twice. I didn't answer. Then the landline voicemail picked up. Are you alone? Nora is upstairs. Doors locked. Alarm armed. Good call, Sergeant Alvarez. I already did. I stood in my kitchen, phone pressed to my ear. Do you want me there? Outside. On the porch. Not inside unless I ask. I'll be there. Julian? Yes? Thank you for waiting to be asked. I crossed the lawn and stood under her porch roof while rain dotted the walkway. Through the front window, I saw Claire moving with her phone in one hand and a notepad in the other. She did not look like a woman waiting to be rescued. She looked like a woman following a plan she helped build. The patrol car arrived 9 minutes later. The voicemail was short. Hello, Claire. You always did choose pretty houses. The back windows still worry me. Sergeant Alvarez bagged the answering machine herself. Claire signed the evidence form. Nora stood beside her, pale but present. The process was not instant television magic. It took formal reports, comparison with old recordings, and review by the prosecutor. But the message, the power tampering, the prior agreement, Marcus's presence in the area, and Mrs. Donnelly's partial plate gave Alvarez enough to push for stronger protection. Marcus did not wait for court. He came to the back door instead. It happened on the 23rd night after the blackout. Rain tapped against my office window when Claire's new alarm system sent an alert. Rear patio motion, glass break vibration, police dispatch initiated. A second later, Claire called. He's outside, she whispered. I can see him on the kitchen camera. I'm upstairs with Mom. Door locked. Police are on the way. Stay there, I said. Do not go down. I'm not. I'll observe from outside. I won't enter your house. Okay. I stepped into the rain with my phone recording in one hand and flashlight in the other. No weapon. No drama. From my side of the fence, I saw Marcus Vance on her back patio with a small pry tool at the sliding door. I turned on the flashlight and aimed it near his shoes. Marcus Vance, I called. Police are already on the way. Step away from the door and put the tool down. He jerked upright, then recognized me. Nelson, he snapped. Still hiding behind women and paperwork? The camera is recording. The alarm company has dispatch on the line. Put the tool down. He took one step toward the side gate. I moved only enough to block the easiest path, keeping distance. Don't, I said. Then Claire's voice cut through the rain from upstairs. You are not invited here. I looked up. She had opened the window enough to speak through the screen. Nora stood behind her with a phone in her hand. Claire's face was pale in the window light, but her voice carried clearly. You are not wanted here. You are not allowed near me, my home, or my family. The police are coming. I am recording this. Marcus stared at her. For the first time, his confidence slipped. You don't understand what people have told you. I understand perfectly, Claire said. You cut my power. You left messages. You came to my door with a tool in your hand. I am done being quiet so you can look harmless. Sirens rose in the distance. Marcus turned toward the gate, saw me, then saw the patrol lights flashing through the trees. The pry tool dropped from his hand and clanged against the wet patio. Two patrol officers came through the side yard with Sergeant Alvarez behind them. They ordered Marcus to show his hands. He hesitated, then complied. No struggle. No. Broken glass. Just handcuffs clicking shut in the rain. Claire did not come downstairs until Marcus was in the patrol car. When she opened the back door, Nora stayed behind her. Claire wore a thick cardigan and rain boots. Her phone was still in her hand. Sergeant Alvarez approached first. You did well. Clean recording. Clear boundary. No unnecessary contact. We'll add attempted unlawful entry in violation of the emergency order request. The prosecutor will review bail conditions in the morning. Claire nodded. I want the no-contact order pushed as far as the court allows. I'll note that. Nora stepped forward. I'll testify to the old history. All of it. Claire looked at her mother. Nora did not retreat. The red and blue lights moved over the repaired meter box, the wet patio, and the new alarm sticker on the glass door. The night of the blackout echoed there, but changed. Same rain. Same house. Same threat trying to use darkness. This time, Claire stood in the light and named it. After the police left, I stayed by the fence. Claire noticed. You can come in, she said. Are you sure? Yes. Inside, her kitchen smelled like chamomile and rain-damp wool. Nora made tea too strong and apologized to the kettle when it hissed over. Claire laughed once, exhausted and real, and the sound loosened the whole room. I stood near the counter. Your company is officially off duty, Claire said. My company was never officially on duty this time. Good, then I don't have to fire you. That would be awkward. I would be professional, I'm sure. She leaned against the counter, steam rising from her mug. I'm still angry, she said. I know. At Mom. At you. At Marcus. At myself, even though I know that part isn't fair. I didn't turn it into a speech. I took the printed checklist from the counter and placed it beside her mug. Tomorrow, I said. Court advocate at 10. Lock company at noon for the side gate. Attorney at 2. Independent security keeps the monitoring contract. I step back unless you ask me not to. Claire looked at the list, then at me. You really are terrible at emotional conversations. I prefer action items. I know. Her mouth softened. That's one of the reasons I trust you. Nora cleared her throat from the table. I'm going to bed before I ruin this, by speaking. Claire turned. Mom? Nora paused. No more secrets, Claire said. Nora nodded. No more secrets. When she left, the kitchen went quiet. Claire carried 2 mugs to the small table by the window and set one in front of me. Sit down, Julian. I sat. Rain traced thin lines down the glass. The backyard lights stayed on. Somewhere beyond the neighborhood, Marcus was being processed into a system he had always believed he could outtalk. Claire wrapped both hands around her mug. The first night, when Mom whispered to you, what did she say? She said you couldn't know we had met before. Claire nodded. And now? Now that sentence belongs to you. She looked toward the hallway where Nora had gone. It means I survived something people tried to manage around me. Her eyes came back to mine. And it means I get to choose who stays. I said nothing. She reached across the table and rested her fingers over mine. I'm choosing slowly, she said. Good. And I'm choosing with paperwork. Even better. A small smile touched her face. But I am choosing you in the room. I turned my hand under hers, not gripping, just meeting. I can do the room. 4 weeks after the blackout, Claire filed the final petition for a long-term protective order. She wore a dark blazer, flat shoes, and the expression of a woman who had reviewed every page twice. Nora sat on one side of her in the courthouse hallway. I sat on the other, not as her consultant, not as her rescuer, but as a witness and a neighbor. Sergeant Alvarez testified to the report history. The alarm company provided dispatch records. Mrs. Donnelly confirmed the SUV on the service road. Nora gave the court the old file. Claire played the recording and read her statement herself. Her voice did not shake. The judge granted the order. Marcus remained held pending arraignment on the attempted unlawful entry and stalking-related charges, with strict no-contact conditions attached to any future release. It was not a fairy tale ending. There would still be lawyers, dates, repairs, and paperwork. But the threat had a name, a case number, and consequences. That afternoon, Claire changed the side gate latch herself. I stood on my porch with coffee, while Nora held the instructions upside down. "You're both turning it the wrong way," I called. Claire looked over her shoulder. "Resource status suspended." Nora nodded. "We are independent women with a hardware problem. You installed the plate upside down." Claire looked down. Nora looked down. 3 seconds passed. "Resource status temporarily restored," Claire said. I crossed the lawn with my screwdriver. We fixed the latch in 10 minutes. Claire tested it 6 times. On the 7th, it clicked cleanly. She smiled at the sound. That evening, Claire invited Nora, Sergeant Alvarez, Mrs. Donnelly, and me for a simple dinner. Nothing formal, just pasta, rain at the windows, and a table that no longer felt like a place where secrets waited under envelopes. Mrs. Donnelly arrived with another covered dish and announced that neighborhood safety was best supported by carbohydrates. Sergeant Alvarez stayed exactly 1 hour because she said she had paperwork and no immunity to Claire's garlic bread. Nora brought a small cardboard box and placed it beside Claire's plate. "What is that?" Claire asked. "Copies," Nora said. "Everything I had. The originals are yours now. I kept one set only because your attorney said it might help the case." Claire opened the box, looked at the labeled folders, then closed it again. "Thank you for not making me ask." Nora's mouth trembled. "I'm learning." After dinner, Alvarez left first. Mrs. Donnelly followed with half the garlic bread wrapped in foil because she claimed evidence should never be wasted. Nora was last. At the door, Claire surprised both of us by taking her mother's hand. Not a full forgiveness. Not yet. Just contact. Nora looked down at their joined hands and blinked hard. "I'll call tomorrow," Claire said. "I'll answer," Nora replied. When the door closed, the house settled into a quieter kind of peace. I stayed to help with dishes. Claire dried the mugs while I washed. "Same sound," she said. "What?" "The rain, like the blackout night." I listened. She was right. Same rain. Different room. Claire walked to the back door, checked the lock, then the alarm panel. The green light blinked once. "Do you want me to check the exterior?" I asked. "No." She looked back at me. "I already did." I smiled. She returned to the sink and took the wet plate from my hand. "Julian." "Yes?" "Sergeant Alvarez asked who you were to me." I waited. "I told her you were my neighbor." "That's accurate." "My witness." "Also accurate." "My resource." "Less flattering, but still accurate." She finally smiled. "And my partner, if you wanted the word." The kitchen seemed to go quiet around the rain. "I want the word," I said. "Good." She handed me a mug. "Then earn it by learning how to load a dishwasher correctly. I secure corporate campuses. And yet you put bowls on the bottom rack?" "That was one time. It was 20 minutes ago." I placed the mug carefully on the top rack. Claire inspected it. Better. The rain tapped the glass. The lights held. The green alarm panel watched over the back door, quiet and steady. 4 weeks earlier, darkness had turned her house into a trap. Now the same house held warmth, stronger locks, honest papers, a mother trying to make amends, neighbors who paid attention, and a woman who had taken back every decision that belonged to her. Claire leaned against the counter beside me, her shoulder brushing mine. No panic. No secrecy. No one speaking for her. Just the soft sound of rain and the small click of a dishwasher door closing exactly the way it should. The end.